In 1914, Europe and much of the world was plunged into 4 years of violence and chaos in the First World War. In Western Europe, this started with a German invasion of its neighbour, Belgium, which soon dragged in the British and the French for 4 years of trench warfare and stalemate. And by the end of it, because it had been invaded, Belgium was there. In 1918, when the German army collapsed and surrendered, and so Belgium could sit at the negotiating table and make demands of the Netherlands, the neutral Netherlands. What? Now in 1940, both the Netherlands and Belgium had not been aligned to the two great power blocs that emerged and kicked off the war, but were instead neutral. Of course, Belgium's neutrality was violated by the Germans, which drove them into the arms of the Entente powers, with whom they would fight side by side for the next 4 years. However, the Netherlands was never attacked, and so the Netherlands remained neutral throughout the war. And in fact, this goes back to a much older policy of the Netherlands since about 1830 to remain neutral in larger conflicts. This was of course because the Netherlands in 1830 lost its southern possession of Belgium during the Belgian Revolution. And after this time period, following an abortive attempt to regain control over the Netherlands, the Dutch had been receding from international and European politics since their high point in the 17th century Dutch Golden Age. Now in 1830, we can describe a little bit about why the Belgians in 1918 felt they had unfinished business with their northern neighbours.
There are only two things I can't stand in this world: people who are intolerant of other people's cultures, and the Dutch.
What? And this is because the Belgian Revolution, for some in Belgium, was actually still ongoing, that it was unfinished. And this is because certain areas that had actually perhaps wished to be part of this new state, this Belgian state, were still under Dutch rule. Now in 1831, the Netherlands invaded the newly independent country of Belgium in order to bring it back under their control. However, with French help and the invasion of the French army, the Dutch forces were pushed back until they were only able to hold on to the citadel of the important city of Antwerp. And in 1832, following a long siege involving the French army, it was captured and brought back to the country of Belgium. However, it was a complicated situation because the important city along which Antwerpen was built was the river Schelde or Scheldt, and this river was the main artery for importing into Belgium from the North Sea. However, there was a problem here, and as I mentioned in a previous video, there is a part of Flanders which today is in France, but there is also a part of Flanders which today is in the Netherlands. And